A good day, ma'am. I'm Ranan Jonte, and I'm going to be discussing the history of media and communication in our beloved country, the Philippines. Its history can be divided into 5 periods: the pre-Spanish and Spanish colonization, American colonization, Japanese occupation and post-war era, the Marcos years, and post-Marcos to present-day media. So let's start with the pre-Spanish and Spanish colonization. Before being colonized by the Spaniards, Filipinos were communicating with baybayin, a pre-Hispanic writing system through trees, leaves, and bamboos, in order for them to talk and update with their fellow Filipinos. But during the Spanish colonization, it completely changed the way of how people communicate and how people get information about current events. Del Superior Gobierno, La Esperanza, El Ilocano, and El Hogar are one of the first printed medias that were made by the Spaniards during their colonization in our country. But one of the most iconic printed medias that was made in this period was La Solidaridad, the first Philippine free press made by Graciano Lopez Haina, Marcelo H. del Pilar, and Jose Rizal, which started this revolution against the Spaniards. This also paved the way for other free press to be released to expose the injustices made by the Spaniards to the Filipino people. In the American colonization, English became the language that is used by new newspapers in the Philippines, like the Manila Times, Manila Daily Bulletin, and Philippine Free Press, which was published by Americans and pro-Americans. But there are also nationalist newspapers like El Nuevo Dia and Sakdal that publish the abuses of the American government. In the Japanese occupation and post-war era, all publications were censored by the Japanese Imperial Army during World War II. But after the war, the Philippine press was called as the freest in Asia and was said to be the golden age of Philippine journalism, as many radio stations and television channels were made and created many documentaries and television shows that entertained and educated millions of Filipinos. Then martial law was implemented by President Ferdinand Marcos, which took down all forms of media that disseminated false, vile, foul statements, utterances, and pictures that is used for lawless elements. This gave way for published newspapers that are highly controlled by the administration of Marcos, which basically took out press freedom during the time of Marcos's term. But this also emerged alternative presses and media to counter the administration's propaganda. And these were supporting Corazon Aquino, who led the People Power Revolution. And after Marcos's term, a new constitution was created and Philippine media returned to what it was, continuing to create the shows and programs that we all know and love today, with the addition of social media, platforms that are used by people from different generations. And that's it for my discussion about the history of media and communication in the Philippines. Thank you so much for listening.